My name is Dr. Brock Smith, and I'm the area champion for entrepreneurship at the Peter B. Gustavson School of Business. I'm here at ICE, UVic's Innovation Center for Entrepreneurs, to give some insights about how to do an effective elevator pitch effectively. An elevator pitch is a 1 to 2 minute presentation of a product concept, a concept that has the potential of being the foundation of a new venture. The objective of an elevator pitch is to gain the attention and interest of your audience, with the aim of getting a bit more time to speak with them and discuss your ideas in more detail. There isn't a right way to do an elevator pitch, but there are some wrong ways. Effective elevator pitches have some key elements that you should consider. When planning your pitch, it's helpful to think about your audience. The audience is typically a potential investor, or maybe someone who could be instrumental in helping you move your venture forward. It's useful to give a little bit of thought to what they care about. Your audience is looking for 4 things. First, an innovative concept. Second, a concept that's valuable to a reasonably large target customer group. Third, where it's feasible that you can do this better or at least as well as others. And fourth, where there's some upside potential in terms of sales volume and margins, where your concept could support a high growth venture. Let's look at these in a little bit more detail. What do we mean by an innovative concept? Innovation kind of ranges from, in 2 dimensions, degree of newness, from an incremental innovation, which is a small improvement over something that exists now, versus a radical innovation, which really is perhaps a new-to-the-world innovation. The second dimension might be degree of impact, sustaining along to disruptive. Sustaining innovations are those that support and utilize existing infrastructure, systems, and know-how, versus disruptive innovations, which really are game changers and change the way business is done in an industry. It's much more difficult to introduce a radical disruptive innovation, and it's a lot easier to introduce an incremental sustaining innovation. What the judges are looking for, or what your audience is looking for, is the extent to which your innovation is innovative. How new is it, and how much impact would it have? Does it just impact, is it new to Victoria? Is it new to British Columbia? Is it new to Canada? Is it new to the world? And it doesn't have to be new to the world. You can make a lot of money on things that are new to Victoria. But the judges are kind of looking to say, has this really been done before? And any evidence you can provide that kind of helps them assess the degree of innovation will be in your favor. The judges are also wanting to understand, is this valuable to a reasonably large target customer group? Does it help to address or solve an important problem? What's the customer's pain? And does it do so in a way that's meaningfully better than alternatives? They're trying to assess whether or not it's feasible that you can do this better or at least as well as others. That you have some unique ability, knowledge, or insight to realize the opportunity, or that you can actually build a team to do it. And finally, they're looking for the upside potential, recognizing that what's interesting, potential, and growth depends on really the expectations and experience of your audience. What's interesting in Victoria might not be interesting in the Silicon Valley. So it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be starting the next Microsoft. A simple business that's going to make money here in Victoria is perfectly legitimate. And the judges here from Victoria are going to be judging it based on other ventures that they have seen here in Victoria. So to summarize, your job is to help your audience assess these 4 questions. To what extent is the concept innovative? To what extent is it valuable? Is this the right person or team to do this? And is the upside potential interesting? There's lots of other questions that stakeholders will want answered, but those can get answered at a later time. Your job in an elevator pitch is just to get them excited enough so they want to talk to you with you afterwards. Now there's lots of latitude in how you help your audience assess those 4 questions. So there's no right way to do an elevator pitch, but there probably are a few things you want to try to avoid, and we'll take a look at those in a few minutes. When answering these 4 questions, you're going to want to give some thought to your opening. Now some people start with a kind of a hook, maybe something that helps the audience identify with the problem that you're solving. Others start with a 1-sentence complete summary so that the audience knows where you're going and doesn't have to wait very long to find out what you got. The challenge with the hook approach is that you really only have 1 or 2 minutes in an elevator pitch, and your hook might take up a considerable amount of that time in order to get the interest of your audience. During that time, they're sitting there thinking, what's the good, what's the service, what's the concept, and they're kind of waiting for you to get to the point. My personal preference, and I say this is just me, and lots of other people have a different opinion, is to start with a one-sentence complete summary. Explain what it is. What does it do? How does it do it? Who is it for? And what are the benefits to the customer? If we can get that across in the first 15 to 20 seconds, you've got the attention of your audience. They know where you're going, and then we can elaborate on each of those points in the rest of the presentation. The key to these presentations is to provide as much evidence as you can. Now, recognizing that you only have a short period of time in order to present. We want to try to provide some evidence that your concept is innovative. Where else is it being done? If it's not new to the world, can you point to other companies in other countries where this concept has been implemented effectively? If it is new to the world, how does it relate to something the audience is familiar with? Can you use an analogy to help them understand what it is that you're doing? Can you provide expert opinions, such as the perspective of a professor or another entrepreneur who helps the audience assess the degree of innovation of your concept? What evidence do you have that it's valuable? This really is the issue of a product market match. Is there a group of customers that highly values what you have to offer? We need to be able to explain how it addresses a problem that's real and important, and providing evidence that the problem is real and important, such as customer testimonials, will go a long way to establishing that you have something interesting. You want to be able to explain that your solution helps address this problem in a way that's meaningful to at least one group of customers. And spending a few seconds explaining who this is for and providing a brief profile of who you think your customer is and why they would perceive your innovation to be valuable would be helpful to the audience. If you have any evidence, such as customer quotes, this is a great time to include those, but appreciate that you don't have a lot of time. Maybe the quotes could be, maybe one or two quotes would be useful. We also want to explain why your innovation has compelling dramatic difference. It's better in some way than what already exists, and hopefully in a way that's meaningful to the customer, so that you have a basis of differentiation that's important to those customers. We also need to try to provide evidence that you're the right person or the right team to do this. Do you have any special ability, special knowledge, any special training, special experience, or relationships that kind of make it so that you're the best people to do this? In 1 or 2 minutes, you don't have much time to establish your credibility. As a proxy, judges often look for passion, poise, and whether you're reasonably articulate. But passion counts the most. If you're passionate about what you're doing, that can be infectious. If you're not passionate, that rubs off on the audience as well. If you're not interested in what you're saying, they're not going to be interested either. And finally, we're looking for evidence that the upside potential is interesting. Are there sales in other parts of the world? Do you have your own sales to date, if any? Or are there expressions of interest from customers? Now, you may not be as far along in your thinking as having that kind of evidence, but certainly stronger pitches will have some evidence to support the key claims, reasons to believe what you're saying. We were talking about things to avoid when doing an elevator pitch. One of the things is don't memorize. It's very easy to forget where your place is in your script, and then you kind of fumble around and get lost and sometimes stop. What you really probably want to do is just memorize to the extent you can the 4 key ideas that you want to present. Not the whole text of it or the script of what you're going to say, just the 4 basic bullet points in terms of what you want to get across. You can put those on a cue card if you think you might forget even those. But what you don't want to do is read from a cue card. You want to maintain eye contact to the extent as possible. If it helps to make calm your nerves by having a piece of paper with 4 key words or 5 key words on it to help you kind of lead you through the presentation, then no problem at all. But the judges are going to be looking to see whether or not you are passionate about what you're doing and whether or not you're knowledgeable about it. And the best way to do that is really just to look them in the eye and tell them your story. Don't take too long to tell them about your concept. It needs to be either right away when you first start or sometime in the first 20 seconds. If you've only got a minute or 2 to pitch, you don't want to be spending a lot of your time with an introduction that kind of slowly gets to the conclusion about what it is you got. The audience wants to know right away, what is it that you have and why is that interesting? So tell them. Take your time. It's natural to be nervous, and when people are nervous, they tend to speak quickly. A minute or two is actually a lot of time if you know how to use that time effectively. So slow down, take your time, and you'll come across as being more confident. When you come across as being more confident, the audience is going to think that, oh yeah, these people are pretty capable. Finally, don't embellish. Don't embellish the degree of the innovation of your concept or the extent of your credibility in pursuing it. Yes, you might be able to fool a couple of people, but your personal reputation is worth a lot more than any prize money that might be available. So tell them what you got. Tell them why it's interesting. Tell them why you're the best team to do it. And have fun. Just a couple of more things to think about. To the extent that you can, maintain eye contact. Smile. This is supposed to be fun. When you smile, you look confident. Looking confident goes a long way to helping the audience assess your ability to do what you want to do. Remember to breathe. Sometimes people get so excited about what they're doing, they ramble on, forget to breathe, they start to stutter and stammer. Take your time. You've got lots of time. Practice a couple of times, maybe 2 or 3 times in the mirror, maybe practice it a couple of times in front of a group of friends. You have lots of time. Just use your time effectively. We talked about presenting at the very beginning or shortly thereafter, a 1-sentence complete summary of your concept. By that I mean describe what it is, what it does, how it does it, who it's for, and why they care. Let me give you an example. Lemonade Day is a fun-free entrepreneurship learning initiative. That's what it is. It utilizes a community partnership model, because how it does it, to encourage and support kids in operating a lemonade stand. That's what it does. So elementary school and middle school students, that's who it's for. Develop entrepreneurial spirit and a sense of corporate social responsibility and learn key business concepts. So putting it together, Lemonade Day is a fun-free entrepreneurship learning initiative that utilizes a community partnership model to encourage and support kids in operating a lemonade stand. So elementary school and middle school students develop entrepreneurial spirit, a sense of corporate social responsibility, and learn key business concepts. So in about 12 seconds, I told you what I got. And then from there, I have lots of time to go into more detail about the problem that I'm solving, the customers, why there's a product market match, what's dramatically different about what I have compared to what already exists in the marketplace, why I'm perhaps the best person, or I can put a team together that's the best people to do this, and why this has upscale potential, how perhaps it could be expanded beyond Victoria and be something of interest to social entrepreneurs. Thank you.